So, as we all know, chapter 217 of Jujutsu Kaisen ended with Sukuna summoning Maharaga during his fight with Yorozu. After this development, Gege Akutami casually decided to let us all die of hype as he went on break for a week. So, with nothing to do for a while other than speculate, I'm sure most of us are probably thinking the same thing. What exactly does Sukuna's Maharaga look like? I mean, y'all saw what happened to Nue, right? So today, I decided to actually illustrate what I think Maharaga might look like and also discuss my possible theories about Maharaga in the upcoming chapter of JJK. So without wasting any more time, let's get right into the video. So Maharaga actually has one of the most iconic designs in Jujutsu Kaisen, and considering how big of a menace he is, he deserves to look this cool. So his trademarks in terms of character design are the wings that come out of the eye sockets on his face, and of course the eight-handed wheel above his head that rotates whenever he processes a new form of attack. He also has his sword of extermination, which is a blade that's essentially covered in positive energy, and it's highly effective against cursed spirits. So, how would Maharaga's design change under Sukuna's control? Well, here's my interpretation of how I personally would want him to look. Ta-da! Okay, so first things first, I will start by saying that the version of Maharaga I have drawn is the tamed version. I personally think Sukuna tamed Maharaga off screen just before his fight with Yorozu. The reason I say this is because it makes no sense for Sukuna to summon Maharaga right now if he hasn't tamed him. Because even if Maharaga beats Yorozu and Sukuna kills Maharaga again, he still won't get control of Maharaga because that's not how the summoning ritual for the Ten Shadows works. Plus, Sukuna would have to waste more curse techniques defeating Maharaga the second time. And if Sukuna summons him again, let's say for a third time because he wants to tame him now, he would have to use new techniques to kill him all over again. So it just makes no sense why Sukuna would summon him right now if he hasn't tamed him. Now, if you're confused as to why I'm saying Sukuna has multiple curse techniques, the reason I say this is because right now there's a lot of speculation about Sukuna's actual curse technique, which is called Shrine. And the general consensus is that Sukuna's Shrine technique allows him to store multiple curse techniques in his shrine, and he gets to use them at will by simply opening his shrine. I believe we saw him do this during his first fight with Maharaga all the way back in the Shibuya incident arc. We still don't know how he acquires the actual curse techniques yet, but my guess would be either through eating people or body hopping. Okay, so with all that out of the way, let's talk about this Maharaga design. So, I've essentially given Maharaga two key changes. The first is that this version of Maharaga has four arms. Now, this is a reference to Sukuna's original Heian era body. I think it would be really cool if Maharaga took on the characteristics of his host in some ways, and giving this behemoth four arms makes him increasingly more dangerous to deal with. I've still kept the sword of extermination on his right arm, and I haven't given him any extra swords because that would just be too broken. Also, as for how big this version of Maharaga is, I personally wanted him to be just a bit bigger than the original. I don't want him to be kaiju sized because with size comes reduction in natural speed and agility, and I wanted him to stay true to his brawler fighting style because, in essence, Maharaga is a brawler, so I wanted him to stay true to that. Now, the second change we see here is the fact that Maharaga has a bit more golden armor, as well as tattoos resembling Sukuna's own tattoos. Now, the gold is just here to give him a more higher ranking, treasured warrior kind of look, because let's not forget the guy literally does have Divine General in his name. So, you can call this a bling upgrade, if you will. But the most ambitious change that I've given to Maharaga here is the fact that he has Sukuna's tattoos. Now, this can just be an aesthetic change, but while I was coming up with character design for this, I had this crazy thought where I wondered what if Maharaga, after he was tamed by Sukuna, would by default get resistance to every single curse technique that Sukuna stored in his shrine. I mean, that would be insane because remember, after Maharaga is tamed, he isn't a threat to Sukuna, which means he's not going to attack Sukuna. So Sukuna doesn't have to worry about this at all. But because Maharaga is immune to all the possible forms of attack that Sukuna can do, Maharaga will be able to fight side by side along with Sukuna without having to worry about any collateral damage. Like Sukuna can just go all out because none of it's gonna hurt Maharaga. And I think that would be insane. And I'm spiraling here because technically this might be possible. Hear me out, hear me out. Don't go into the comments and destroy me just yet. Just hear me out. Okay, so let's say Maharaga has the ability to gain immunity from all types of damage that his user's own curse technique could inflict. Now, the only people who can actually even get Maharaga in the first place are 10 Shadows users. So that means that their technique is the 10 Shadows, which means that they don't really have a fixed type of damage that they could deal, like say fire damage or slashing damage, because 10 Shadows users normally fight using their Shikigami and their manipulation of the shadows. And in this instance, I'm not going to count the types of damage that their Shikigami would deal, like for example, say Nue dealing lightning damage. So I'm not going to count that. So in this case, Maharaga wouldn't technically gain any immunities at all. I mean, he could gain shadow immunity, but the fact is that if someone's tamed Maharaga, then they're going to be using Maharaga with their shadows. So this really isn't something to consider. But Sukuna is a special case here because if his shrine technique is true, then he has multiple curse techniques that deal different types of damage. And if all those techniques, after he opens the shrine, become his curse technique, then Maharaga would technically be able to gain immunity to all those types of damage by default the moment he gets tamed by Sukuna. And remember this is really important. Maharaga has never been tamed in history. So this is technically possible because we still have no idea what a tamed Maharaga can do and what his characteristics are in respect to a user. So yeah, it is possible. Technically, it is possible. Okay, guys, I'm done with my mad scientist rambling. Remember that this is all speculation on my part, so you can take it all with a few grains of cursed salt if you want. It's fine. It's just speculation. I'm bored. I have nothing else to do. I'm sure a lot of us are speculating what Maharaga could do and what we want Maharaga to be able to do. So, it's all speculation. It's fine. But that's just a thought I had. Please don't attack me in the comments. Okay, so now for some predictions on Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 218. I think Yorozu versus Maharaga will be a pretty close fight because number one, Yorozu's technique is actually busted. Remember, theoretically, she can create anything she wants, and because of that, she can actually attack Maharaga continuously with different types of damage. She also seems pretty durable with her own flesh armor. Like we saw the form that she took at the end of chapter 217, and that straight up looks like a close combat brawling form. So I think this is going to be a straight up brawl and the fight will actually last for a few chapters. But ultimately, Yorozu probably going to die because I am a Maharaga stan and I will support that wing face bastard till the end. But in all seriousness, I do think Yorozu is going to die at the end of this fight simply because I don't see her reason for her to stick around. I mean, her whole character is based on this love that she has for Sukuna, and she's already shown it. And she's a really strong sorcerer, so I think this is more of a fight to set up just how powerful Sukuna is right now, and she might need to be made an example of. I mean, even if there is a small chance that she survives, I really don't know what more she could add to the story, maybe other than a little bit of comedy and some more back and forth between her and Sukuna as the story continues. But I don't think that that's Jujutsu Kaisen's style, especially given the whole Gojo might get unsealed at some point close by. So I really don't know. I mean, even if she survives this encounter, she's probably going to get bodied by Gojo. So, but anyways, that's my version of Maharaga. That's also my thoughts on what I think about Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 218, as well as any theories that I had on Maharaga. And since the chapter 218 spoilers will be released soon, feel free to subscribe because I'll be making a video on them and you can see just how wrong all my crazy predictions are then. Also, if you guys happen to read Blue Lock by any chance, check out my video on the chapter 212 spoilers. I'll leave a link to that video in the description, and I'll also see if I can get like a clickable link for the video while this is playing, so you can just click it directly. And lastly, I just wanted to say this is a new channel, and this is probably one of the first few videos that I've made so far. So I wanted to thank all you guys that decided to watch it, especially all you guys that made it all the way to the end. Thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to me. If you like the stuff I do, please feel free to subscribe. And anyways, guys, thank you so much. Have a great day.